Well, hello. There it is. There's a new patch. It's a mini patch, but it's a very important patch because it brings 144 FPS frames per second to the Warcraft free game. So if you have an 144 Hz monitor, you will have 144 FPS, providing you set that up correctly. So previously, Warcraft 3 was always set to 60 FPS, hard-coded. But now, it's 144. Pretty impressive. I'll show you what that looks like in a brief moment, but I'm going to show you the patch notes. Pete Stillwell says, Hail, War Chiefs. Lich's commanders and keepers, we're happy to get this patch in your hands. It is focused on stability improvements and some minor changes for multiplayer. So there's a whole bunch of bug fixes and such. They've changed the game client so that it's now up to 3 GB of memory. Native full screen mouse sensitivity is on point. I hope that helps people, because I know there's a lot of people saying my mouse doesn't feel right. I've never had that issue myself, so I can't really relate, but hopefully that's solved the problem for you. Updated the Observer API to export more game information. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Maybe in terms of Observer or replays. But if you have a better idea, then please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Bug fixes in terms of gameplay. There's a whole bunch going on here, but I think the things you basically want to pick out on is the campaign being improved. I know some people were playing that. Still playing it. Still! And defend being correctly shown. We've got the human fast building speed no longer transferring. I can't say I noticed that, but if it is an issue, it's been solved. And hurrah! Look at this. Ancient of War damage is consistent between rooted and uprooted. Oh my god. Insert clip. This is the most amazing thing you'll ever see. Ancient of War. 900 health. 37 to 47 damage. 37 to 47 damage. Hurrah! Yeah. Still quite a lot, to be honest with you, but you know, at least it means they won't be able to do quite so many of the orange camps as easily as they could do beforehand. Another step towards fixing this Night Elf race. Okay, so we got allied heroes with shared control appear in the UI again. This is also important for all of you team players out there, be it 2v2 or 4v4, 3v3, RT, AT, you know me. It's good, because you might remember from some of my 4v4 RT games or something like that recently. If an ally disconnected, you wouldn't be able to see their hero or any of their heroes that they picked. So they picked a Blood Mage, for example. It wouldn't show up in the UI, so you couldn't easily sort of like identify or right-click his buildings towards that hero. You'd have to identify where they are exactly on the minimap rather than just using the UI at the top left. So that's a good change. The sounds, this has been all improved because it was a mess. Yes, if you turned your sound off and then back on again, you'd have half the sounds working and half the sounds not working. It felt really weird and despondent, especially if you've played Warcraft 3 for a very long time. It was very unsettling. And if you had this issue, you had to get out of Warcraft 3 and reload it because you just couldn't really play with it. It's too disturbing how it all worked. Data. This is good. Map Phaeto preferences are saved. Hurrah! No more Northern Isles. Until they fix that Golem camp at least. Yeah, when you Phaeto maps and then log off Battle.net, those maps will still be Phaetoed as you log back on. In the previous patch, it forgot everything that you set up. You know, race, your game type, the maps that you wanted on and off. It forgot all of that, and then you'd get the map that you didn't want, and you go, oh god, I forgot to turn it off again when I logged back in. So just a quality of life thing. They've imported stuff. This all looks good, to be honest. I'm going to read on to the balance changes. Fast sight was intended to be 2,700 AoE, even though they said 4,000 at one point on the tooltip. But yeah, that is what it is. Deal with it. That's still a hell of a lot, to be quite frank. Meat Wagons, Disease Cloud now deals 2 damage per second. I do wonder if Disease Cloud being at 2 damage per second is a bit too much, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I feel like it was still pretty strong at 1 damage per second, but okay. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but that's my opinion. 2 damage might be too much. Amazonia. Kobold Taskmasters now drop level 2 permanent items instead of level 2 charged items. Well, good for them. And creep camps no longer aggro other creep camps. Yeah, that's... I'll believe that when I see it, because they also said that they fixed the level 8 wizard. So he doesn't aggro and stuff like that. But I managed to aggro him by building a farm near him. So, yeah, he's not quite fixed, but we'll see. I'm skeptical on that one. Swamped Temple. Removed hidden unbuildable terrain. I don't know where that was, so I guess it's not too much of an issue. But it must have been an issue for one player in particular who got screwed over by it. Corrected map description. Road to Stratham. Removed the location where units could be dropped and not attacked. Nick! And Twisted Meadows. Tree locations reverted to 1.29, probably for the best. Goblin Laboratories have a tree within range for wisps. Oh, I see, yeah. That's for Night Elf players. A little extra buff there. It's not like they need it. Oh my goodness, Night Elf. Yeah, you might notice there's been no changes to Night Elf. None to the Keeper of the Grove, or the Huntresses, or the Archers, or the APs, or the Glaive Throwers. Oh dear. They did finally get that frickin' Ancient of War reduced, but yeah. Night Elf have had it pretty damn good, and you can see the very first comment underneath is still no Keeper of the Grove and Huntress nerf. Do you even realise how broken Entangle is now? Plenty of people write about it. So what is it really that difficult to change in this patch? I believe it's probably going to be tackled in a future patch. I know that they want to maybe reshift the stat balance a little bit, particularly with Huntresses, but you're not going to get it in this patch, so we're still going to have to put up with Night Elf. Yeah, I know. Whoa, Witchy complains about Night Elf. Yeah, I'm not the only one, alright? Get over it. Night Elf, they're a little bit strong right now. As much as you might disagree with anything I say, you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with Night Elf being imbalanced, or at least incredibly strong at Tier 1. A little overly strong. So, that's all good. I'm going to show you a replay of a game I literally just played a moment ago to test something on Streamlabs, as well as it's handy to test out the FPS in the game. I had 144 FPS throughout, but the replay might not necessarily hold up to 144 FPS depending on how fast we go. But I'm going to watch the replay and we can see how smooth it is. So I've got to stop the recording and start it on the game capture. So be with you in a second. Hello. You're going to notice the 144 FPS, I'm telling you. If it doesn't come through correctly in this video, maybe you don't have an 144 Hz monitor. If you do, then you will truly appreciate just how smooth Warcraft 3 feels right now. The menus themselves feel smoother as well. They're no longer sluggish and clunky. Here we go. So this is the game that I just played a moment ago. I'll stick it on 1x speed. And you can see I'm at 144 Hertz or FPS, bouncing back and forth between that. The ping was actually a lot better as well. I was on 67 ping. So I don't know what they did to that, but they improved it, because previously I used to be closer to 110 ping. So I've seen Grubby and Todd stream with, like, you know, closer to 80 to 70 ping. So they might be on like 30 to 40, which means that Warcraft 3 is definitely now officially better than War 3 Arena in terms of ping. But I can't say for sure, because I can only say for myself. I had 67 ping, so I don't get the best internet connection, but it is good. So this is what I mean. When you move around like this, it feels so much smoother. And the control of the peasants, the way they move, it might not transition, but you will truly appreciate it if you have access to 144 Hz in this game. It just feels and plays that much more smoother. I'm sure a lot of the characters in Warcraft 3 are sort of locked to maybe 60 frames or even less than that, 30 frames in terms of their animations, so not everything is going to look super sharp and 144 FPS, but it will transition through much better, I think. I think I'll just get to the good fun part, which is the fight at the end. So away we go. 64 times speed. Oh my goodness, what's my FPS now? My FPS is still like 70, but I'm not seeing what's going on. Okay, so I'll just start in this creep camp. We'll get to the gameplay. Mountain King, here we go. Oh, he spotted me, but I know he's been chasing me because he's already creep-jacked me a couple of times before that. So I got the dust. Here we go, 1x speed. Hopefully this transitions through nice and smooth. It feels better to play as a player. It's not a huge, massive difference, but you will notice it when I transitioned to 144 hertz on my monitor, it felt so darn good. Well, that's a tricky place for my Mountain King to be. WTii RNG. Oh my god. Could have lost the game right there, to be frank with you. That saved me a arm and a leg, that one. Now he's in this really big predicament where he's fighting sort of like in this enclosed space versus the slow. He's not going to make too much more use. He's got scroll of healing, scroll of speed to get past this slow, which is spread across all of his units now. Doesn't have the disenchant available. Mountain King popping in to say hi. A little bit of abuse there. Zeppelin's really strong if you can utilize it very well. Zeppelin basically won me that. No doubt about it. So let's have a look. I hope when we zoom in, the FPS does drop down quite a bit though. So I can't quite manage it. That could be because my recording on my computer is not powerful enough, although it is pretty brand new. But for the most part, the game plays close to 144 Hz. It might get a bit more sticky and closer to 70 FPS in the bigger battles in 4v4 RT and such. But generally speaking, you're looking at up to 144 Hz. And that's going to be particularly good for like single player campaigns or, you know, custom games. Hopefully players will get a much more enjoyable, smoother experience. The sapper. GG. Okay, so I'm sure that didn't transition through as smoothly as I'd like it to on the video, but all I can tell you is it plays and it feels better. You just feel it as a player. Like even the cursor moving around now. When I got 144 Hz monitors, my experience with Windows Explorer, Hearthstone, other stuff like that, just jumped up dramatically. Everything was just smoother, more animated, more flowing. So if you guys don't have a 144 Hz monitor, now's a good time to get it, providing you can afford it, of course. That goes without saying, really, because you can now enjoy Warcraft 3 with 144 FPS. Alright, this has been WTii. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and hopefully this patch sees you well, and take care. All the best.